Ismail, good evening, my friend. Good, man. Just decided last minute I'm gonna stream a bit. What about yourself, man? How is life on your end? Thank you very much, man. That's very kind of you. That's very kind of you, my dude. Thank you very much. Dolex, yo, good evening. Okay, let's kind of get started, my friends. So yeah, what is to say? Good evening again. We're gonna do another stream. We're gonna hopefully fix something, build something. I've been working on some improvements for this platform, so we're gonna kind of focus a bit on that. And Cedric also has reported some bugs to me, something that we can't allow really not to work. So as I'm really in the middle of a pretty big PR for onboarding, we're gonna actually leave that one. And we're gonna do something else today, maybe because it's not gonna be a super long stream. So I'm gonna make sure that we just maybe fix some tiny things, maybe have some chat, and just have a chill evening, I guess. I guess many of us here are, here for that very reason, to just learn something, have fun, and whatever, right? Okay, let me just bypass this very quickly, because this is something. What? All right, let's see what's happening here. That makes no sense. Okay. Let me heat up my brain a bit. Now let's see what the hell is happening here. Oh, I see. Because we already have these tags. I'm already following them. Okay. So essentially it's saying that I can't do it again. Okay. Let's go to our database and just bypass this very quickly. So let's go users, Alexander. Username, let's say full bar. Let's execute that. We should then be okay, bypassing that. Okay, cool. So let's kind of take a look at what Cedric has reported here. And let's maybe start the stream with some very simple things. Common sorter, open 12. Yeah, exactly. So this is a nice one. So some of these tiny things, and also I wanted to try another thing that I found this morning online. If I look at my stars and Git, if we go to stars, it's called Spec Kit that GitHub has released. And actually I think my microphone is probably very low. I think hopefully it's better now. What do you guys think? Let me see. Yeah, maybe it's too much. Now let me know if it's too loud or too low, just so I can fix it. But I think it should be fine now. So there's this, okay, I just realized it was pretty low. So, yeah, now it should be loud enough, let's say. So So there's this spec kit, right, for spec-driven development, basically, as we are all by now hopefully using AI to enhance as a code assistant for some assisted programming. So this spec kit has been built on by Microsoft and GitHub, and apparently they're using this now internally to kind of get better results when working with AI. So actually we could start the stream like this, and honestly, that could be fun though. So we have some bugs, and let's kind of So actually let me install UV. So yeah, let's maybe start there today. This is gonna be interesting, also useful for my works, useful to you guys as well. So let's start there. So this is the repo. I'm gonna share it with both of you on YouTube and on Twitch. So let's give it a shot. So let's do this. And then now we have the binary basically, so we can initialize this. I guess we can initialize it, for example, in, let's say, our front end or whatever. But let's see, I'm not so sure. So let's go maybe to, let's go somewhere to, is there some workspace here? Let me actually, give me a second here. So, okay, so actually, you know what? Let's just initialize it here. Yeah, let's initialize it here. Let's say, let's go actually read that documentation there. So specify init. So let's say specify init, and then project name, we can call it programmer network spec driven development, SDD. Okay. And we're gonna say, hey, we're using a Copilot, Claude, Gemini, Cursor. So we're using Cursor. We're using Postgres shell and or bash. Yes. Okay, super. Okay, so now they're telling us to go to the project, to cd there, and start using / commands with your AI agent. So spec kit, establish project principles, create baseline specification, create implementation plan, prepare for raid, Alexander. Oh, nice. Nice. I need to get better at this. Shout out, I guess we do shout out, right? Maduro, thank you very much, buddy. Good evening, everybody. Well, I just a perfect time to raid. I just started the stream. So while you're here, for those of you who will stick around a bit, so we're gonna try now the spec kit, right? This is a tool that has, let's say, been recently, I don't know how recent it is, but you can actually see this has been recently published by GitHub and Microsoft. So this is basically there, and good evening, thank you very much, guys, for leaving a message. So you can see this is the tool built internally for them to kind of do spec-driven development. And ironically, at work, I kind of held a workshop 2 days ago at my work, where I work on exactly this subject. So, and then next morning on LinkedIn, I found out about this thing. So anyway, so we're gonna fix some bug on programmer network platform, but we're gonna try this together. For those of you who are not sleepy enough and that I don't bore too much, so we're gonna try to initialize this, and we're gonna try to take some of these bugs that we have. We're gonna try to spec them out, and we're gonna try. Thank you very much, guys, for the follows. Appreciate it very much. So, code with Ali. Hey, dude. Hey. Okay, so let me just focus a little bit here. So let's take a look at our terminal here. So we have just initialized the project. Let me actually, because some of you have joined now, so let me just share this. Oh, actually, I have shared it above. Okay, so I think you guys have it. I would say from all these years being in this industry that, especially maybe 15 years ago or so, it was very common. Like I would say that this today is often tied too much to AI. I would say that this term has nothing to do with AI per se. You know, engineering back in the day was really, especially in like bigger organizations, like everything was based, you have an idea, write a technical document. You want to build a feature, write a technical document. I saw this shift from the real engineering, under quotes, happen when we misunderstood agile, doing things in an agile way, and then we went from one extreme to the other. So we went from, hey, you want to do something, well, write this massive document, to not writing anything. And then, of course, neither of the sides is ideal. You, of course, can't overspecify or start assuming things. Exactly, because when you think about engineering, the word that has been lost, from a software industry, at least very long ago, is that every single other real, under quotes, real or physical engineering industry really builds after a long period of research and understanding. Hey, do we understand the problem? Yes. Okay, let's explain it. Let's research it. Let's model it. Let's build a model of it, and let's then build it, right? So you could say that the future with AI, I believe, it looks good for especially for people who can write code. For those who can't, it's obviously not going to be that useful. So for those of us who can code, I think this is a good direction, I believe. And I think that this is a good direction not because of writing code, but this is a good direction for people to truly understand the problem before they start building. So let's imagine that we didn't even have AI at this point. The fact that we're going to go back a bit and say, hey, can I explain this through natural language? Yes. Okay, well, I understand the problem. If you can't explain it, you don't understand it, so that means that you shouldn't be building it anyway, with or without AI. So I say that now when we're kind of shifting boilerplate type of code, at least, to the natural level abstraction, like English or whatever language you speak, it doesn't have to be English. That also means that we have to spend more time planning and planning and understanding and executing the plan. At my work, I work as a tech lead, and I have kind of sold this idea to my developers, and they love it a lot. And it's fascinating, man. I mean, it is fascinating. To be very frank with you, now at work, I spend more time in a plan mode in Cursor. So refining the plan, ensuring that the AI understands what it has to do, and then it really executes the plan relative to your agent's MD file, like your single source of truth, and so many things. So it's quite fascinating how far you can get with AI. Now, of course, one thing that I have to say is that this agent mode here, you should almost forget that it exists, right? So this agent mode is why some people think that AI sucks, right? Well, Andrew, I agree, but I would be very careful with the expectations. I think people are not using AI properly, in my opinion, number one, and people are having if you set anything in life, if you set yourself with high expectations, you will always get disappointed in life. This has nothing to do with AI. This is just a common sense. If you create insanely huge expectations about anything in life, you will eventually get disappointed about whatever that is. A girlfriend, a wife, a kid, a friend, a job, right? So I would say that number one mistake that I see, and this is from where I derive the fact that some people fail using AI, is that you should forget that this agent mode exists, because this doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? When you are in this agent mode, which is, by the way, the default one in most editors, which is also a mistake. I think these IDEs, these text editors, are selling this idea wrong. When you're in the agent mode and you ask something, it starts coding immediately. And that's why sometimes you're like, man, sometimes this AI sometimes works great, and sometimes it just writes a bunch of stuff. Yes, it does. Because if you're in the agent mode and you say, hey, fix this thing, it's just going to start fixing. It's not going to take any context into consideration. It's not going to, right? But this plan thing should be your default state. So, I mean, in most of these modern editors today, you can configure this. You can go to settings somewhere. So you can go to let's go here. So you can go usually to, where is the settings here? Yeah, preferences, cursor settings, and then you go to agents. You can see from me, the default mode is plan, right? Because this is where the magic happens. This is where your system design knowledge, your infrastructure knowledge, your architectural decisions come into play, right? So this is where you spend most of your time, into this planning phase, refining the plan, not just for the AI, but believe it or not, you will see if you build this discipline, this is literally now a new discipline we all have to build, you will actually start creatively think about the problem you're trying to solve more and more. So as you go back and forth with this tool, it's going to become more clear to you, okay, how much actually I know what it is that I want to build, and you know, how much AI relative to that is assuming what I want to build, right? Because you might know what you want to build, but AI might not know that, right? So in simple words, I think step number one is to just forget that this agent, I wish that I can actually remove it from here, because I would remove it fully. Can I remove this? I don't know. But either way, I would just nuke it. I would ban this from the editor. This is terrible. No matter which model you use, it's terrible because it executes instantly. It starts doing things without, and then you 1 minute later, it updated 47 files, and you're like, what the hell just happened? How did this escalate so quickly, right? Well, it escalated because, you know, so we tried using AI on our project and it destroyed everything. It removed all framework dependencies we use. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, easy, but I don't think AI can remove anything. I mean, you executed the plan, right? So, I mean, I trust you. I'm not saying you're lying or anything like that, but I've been using AI for 4 years now since it came out, and it never happened to me, right? So can it happen? I mean, based on your scenario, it can. But even if it did happen, that doesn't prove anything or disprove, right? I mean, can it sometimes fail? Yes, it's a tool, right? It's not some majestic, you know, a brain that knows anything. It is a tool, and tools can fail. Your jigsaw will fail. Your razor blade will fail. Your hammer will fail. Your nail will fail, right? So it's all tools, and tools. We have to keep reminding ourselves it's a tool. It's not some ancient or majestic being, right? So, okay, anyway, sorry for that theory, but I think it's important to, in order to understand what to expect from AI, one has to have proper workflow and proper expectations as well, because if not, you will fail. Okay, so let's learn about this thing. Yeah, let's learn about this thing now. Josh, buddy, good evening. Good to see you, man. How are you? Okay, so let's open this. Let's actually add this project to the workspace. So it's also another thing very important. If you have cross dependencies, then you must work in a workspace so you can actually link all of these projects together, reference them, and I'm using, so this is a streaming machine, so I typically use this machine for streaming and for building, like when I use Mac OS at my work and my laptop is running Ubuntu. This is Windows Linux subsystem. I mean, all of our programming is happening on Linux, yeah. Panda, please ask the question. Like, don't ask if you can ask the question, because then that we cannot elaborate your question properly, and then maybe we can help you, right? The amount of help we'll be able to provide is directly proportional to the quality of your question, right? If your question sucks, then well, our amount of help we'll be able to provide is going to be very, very low. Do you also use Claude? My normal workflow is using Cursor for complete and Claude. Honestly, I don't know Code with Ali what I use. I've noticed, as I said several times since I came back streaming, is that for me the best optimization for these models is your input. If your input sucks, no optimized model is going to help you, right? So I would say that for the most part I stay in the Sonnet here in Cursor. But I've tried many of these models. Most of them work. Some of them are maybe worse than others in some shape or form. It's hard to really define this fully into a... it's fine to articulate the difference between these models sometimes, right? Because it's unclear. For example, I've been trying Google Gemini 3.0 past 2 days since it came out, and on these benchmarks they claim that it's the best model by far, but I found it, like this one, I found it really bad, right? So who the hell knows? What I know for certain for myself, what I've discovered is that if you are capable of being engineer, articulating your thoughts as an engineer, writing these thoughts down into writing these details and articulating them right, that's the best possible optimization for the AI. Then certainly almost any model will help you. And of course, the opposite, if you don't do that, every single model will fail, no matter the context, no matter the training data. You know, it's no different than talking to humans, right? All right, so let's learn a little bit about this. So go to your project folder, start using commands, okay? With your agent. That's a little bit unclear, but let's see, because I'm not using these CLI tools in general, so I actually don't know what it means by this. Oh, I see. So I was supposed to basically generate this so basically it seems to me that every project is supposed to have this one, but I've actually created this on a flat level where, like in my workspace, you can say. So let's see if we can actually establish these principles relative to the rest of so we have our core UI library that I built, our UI project, our API, our infrastructure. So essentially what we want to do now is basically do what their guide says. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we have to generate this principle. So basically this is like the agents file we have, right? So this is my agents file for the API, and it really defines all of this. Is the code I wrote way before AI was there, but yeah, this kind of aggregates the opinions I have about my API, right? Yeah, but I'm not gonna do it in the project level. That's the thing, right? So I'm gonna make an exception to that because I don't operate like that, right? Because whenever you're building something, right, it's very rare that it doesn't concern the other end. So if you're building a feature, you know that that feature relates to your infrastructure, your backend, your front end, right? Because nothing really lives in isolation. You never build something in the UI that, I mean, apart from the UI, like visual stuff, doesn't concern the backend as well, right? So that's why I think I will keep it here and then reference these folders if I can inside. So I'm basically going to do it almost like some sort of a huge, even though it's not a monolith, that you know, there's a huge separation of concerns and separation of services. I still will try to kind of now reference these libraries in here, right? That's at least what I want to do, but let's see if we're gonna Maya, welcome back. Launch your AI assistant. The spec-it commands are available in the... Okay, so let's try that. So is this what they're asking us to do? Is this spec kit a binary or what it is? Cursor commands. Oh, I see. What? What are the cursor commands? I don't know anything about that, honestly. So what is this? Cursor commands. Let's read about that. Okay, I see. Huh. Ooh, oh, I see. All right. So to be honest, so amazing. Some learning is happening here. So very, very happy about it. Okay, so basically what it's telling us here is that if we do commands, we can say spec kit. Okay. Ah, I see. Okay. Actually, it would be nicer if... Oh, I see. Okay, okay. CLI cursor commands package really okay. Jimmy, very good to hear. So essentially, yeah. So essentially, what we're doing here when we run these commands, right, is we are essentially giving it the right. So this is almost like a little, let's call it a mini fake shell script, right, where it's gonna have some front matter here, some metadata, if you may, generally like so it's gonna understand from this what it is that we want to do. It's gonna parse our arguments, and arguments are most likely, so we choose analyze, and then the argument itself is the prompt itself, right? So fine, and then it's gonna basically, so these are some pre-generated rules that this tool itself has, these guys, whoever has built this packet, GitHub guys, they have basically gave us these templates. So you could say that they have spent some time figuring out, okay, how can we build these great templates that would work objectively for most engineering projects. That's my assumption. Now, of course, and I assume we can, of course, update these files and stuff. But if we kind of skim through this, it seems to me that, yeah, this is something we probably want to keep. Okay. All right. So, okay, one thing that I kind of dislike, let me see here. So we have establish project principles, create baseline specifications, create implementation plan, generate actionable tasks, execute implementation. Okay, so that is the order, right? So let's do spec kit constitution, right? And what happens if I do this? Let's say if I just hit enter without actually providing, under quotes, arguments. Okay. But now again, I want to do this on a workspace level, not on a specific project level, because that is too much metadata. I would be very reluctant and bored to need to update multiple of these metadata projects once I want to do a feature, because that would then be a little bit, that would be a UX blocker, you can say. At least that's what I believe right now. I might change my mind after we learn this. Yeah, this is a very good question, right? What is the scope of the constitution? So is it only for this project? Of course not. This is our just, you know, spec development, right? So we're gonna say, hey, no, that's a very good question. So one is B. How many core principles should be defined? Use principles already documented in the workspace rules. I would say we already have some principles for front end, let's say agents, and for our API also agents, right? So I guess yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, so for example, when you take a look at things like TRPC, right, and when you look at these types of, let's say, monolith full stack things are popular, I believe. I mean, I've never used this, but I'm kind of trying to investigate a bit, is because of this very contract between both ends, right? Of course, this can be achieved in many ways and shapes and forms without going this path and locking yourself into very opinionated type of thing. And I think AI is great to accomplish very much this using a workspace itself, right? You just need to you will see in this very stream very often, all of my prompts are always end-to-end. So you're gonna very rarely see me not referencing both ends, because it always has to know. So if you're building a feature that, you know, has to interface through HTTP, through some API, it always benefits massively if it understands both ends. So you say, hey, I'm building this list of users given this endpoint, and then you just drag that folder or the whole project into here. So for example, let's imagine that today we are fixing some bugs in, let's say, comments section, you would drag this comment folder. You probably know this already, right? But I'm currently testing TRC chassis next. I mean, most of the things you name there, unfortunately, I don't like. Next.js I would never use. I don't think that things like this should exist. TRPC as an idea is great. I haven't built anything with it because I'm a very old-fashioned guy. I still like to build my standard APIs and standard frontends, and I don't lock myself into any vendors because I've been doing this for also, I mean, I assume you have as well, for many, many years. I still believe what I've learned many years ago applies today. So I typically use open source tools that are agnostic of environment. I have my own Kubernetes server at home, and I use Hetzner and Cloudflare, right? So I still have to see a sufficient amount of value in some of these tools to actually switch to use any of them, right? So TRPC and all of these things, yes, they have some value, absolutely. Some of the things are very useful, but these things, the premise on which they're built is something that I don't have issues with, right? Because you can use OpenSpec API generator. You can do many things to almost achieve the same level of type sharing, right? So without coupling yourself into very specific thing, right? Because the biggest problem with the TRPC framework, that new thing, relatively new, I suppose, is that you are screwed if you want to build a mobile app using that same API. You're screwed, right? So for example, if you want to build some sort of a progressive web app that you deploy using bubble wrap to Android store to iOS store with the same code base, that's what we did for Programming Network, then you would be screwed, right? Because now you have you can't do that, right? And maybe technically you could do it using bubble wrap, but in some other, at least building native apps, that would be tough. Okay, okay, and let's say 3 is 8. Let's see, I'm super curious to see what this is gonna yield. So kind of, you can see I'm cross-referencing things already. So it already asked me very good questions because it understood that we're in a workspace. It said, hey Alex, should I in fact just focus on this folder, this project in which I'm operating, or use all of your folders from the workspace? So that was a very good question. Okay, now it's doing some plan for us. Extract code architectural principles from existing projects, front-end and API, and consolidate them into a unified constitution MD file. Amazing. Music to my ears. So, but fundamentally, it's going to use the rules we have in our agents MD, and it's going to kind of copy them there. You could say that's not really ideal, because, you know, once we update the agents file, which are per project rules, then you could say the other things are, this thing is going to be kind of out of sync. Okay, let me ask, is there a way that, how do you plan on keeping agent files in sync with this constitution, considering that you are suggesting copy pasting from there? Is there any way to reference instead so we don't duplicate and then have to worry about managing the rules in both places, right? That's a rational question, right? Because I don't want to be thinking, oh, I need to update these 15 different files when I add a new principle, because adding these principles and rules is hopefully something that you also do as a dynamic, never-ending thing. So you introduce a new system in your software. Well, you want to systemize it, like you want to first make sure it's a system, and then you want to make sure that, hey, I want to document it somewhere. So next time when either AI needs to do it or my colleague needs to do it, there is a systematic approach of how do we do X? Well, go here, do this, do that, blah, 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 right? Okay, very good. So it's kind of listening to me. Create a constitution that establishes high-level universal principle while explicitly referencing agent file for the details implementation. This avoids duplication and creates a clear hierarchy. Constitution, governance and principles, agents, MD, implementation details. Very good. Type safety first. Consistent architectural patterns. Separation of concerns. Testing standards. Security and accessibility rules. Technology-specific actions. Government sections. Version information. I actually don't know what this matters, but I suppose we'll learn in time. Templates will reference the Constitution for governance, but points to agent. Check, verify principles, type safety, spec template requirements must align with Constitution principles. Tasks template, task quality gates reference Constitution principles. Checklist templates include Constitution principles. Blah blah. Benefits of this approach: no duplication, no deferred items. Okay, well, I guess we can hit build now. And let's see kind of what happens. Very interested to see what happens here, honestly, because I think this is very, very important. Okay, hey, I want to edit that. Great. So now it's basically filling these principles, right? So when we generated this using the CLI tool, it kind of gave us like a placeholders to, hey, this is how this should, I suppose that's my impression so far. And then what we were supposed to do is what AI is essentially doing for us by reading some of the principles that we already have. So I would presume that now it's gonna kind of update this list. I mean, I think this is amazing. I think, again, I have to emphasize, regardless of AI or not, this is literally something that every project should have when you're onboarding someone, you're getting a new colleague, whatever, you get a new CTO, you get a whatever, you just say, hey, this is our rules, this is how we work. So this is, anyway, regardless of what it is, very, very useful for AI and for humans alike. Yeah, well, ironically, it didn't actually finish this file, so that's a bit silly. Before you move to spec, please finalize plan template. There seems to be a lot of placeholder in here. Yeah, Josh, I don't think this has to do anything with a text editor ID that you're using. This is generally what you can use with agnostically of the tooling you have. So this is a set of rules that you're gonna attach in your context when interfacing with AI, so AI understands what it is that you want to do, right? So think about, imagine that, you don't want to keep telling it every single time the same thing, So you define all of your guidelines, all of your rules, all of the sacred things to you and your code, and then, then it includes that for the most part. I've noticed that AI sometimes fails, and I ask it, why didn't you follow the guidelines? Because you have them. I mean, I think these semantics CFG are completely irrelevant. I don't care if it understands it, right? I actually don't care if you, as my colleague, understand it. I care that you do it, right? So does it understand it is completely meaningless argument, because it has no, it's completely purposeless. If it does the task to the quality acceptance that I define, I don't care if it understands it or not. I never understood that argument, right? I'm not gonna marry this AI. I need it to write functions, right? So does it understand it or not? I actually don't care. I'm here to understand it. AI is here to, save me time of writing it. So it doesn't have to understand anything. It's not here to think. It's here to do, and I'm here to think. So that is the difference. So does it understand it? I don't give a shit. Does it understand it? How much do you pay for cursor? I don't. My company pays for it. Also meaningless, absolutely meaningless comment. Again, irrelevant. If it does the work and if it does exactly what I tell it, absolutely irrelevant. These semantics have zero value. Does it think or not? Is it AGI or not? Is it an algorithm match, text match? Who cares? I absolutely don't care. So if it understands, if it executes and follows these rules, then that's what I care about, right? Okay, so it did a bunch of these things. Okay, so technically now we are done with something, right? What are we done with? All right, so yeah, so okay, so we ran one command so far, right? From this new thing we're trying out, okay? So we have established this. Create baseline. Did we actually do this? Specify. So let's see what is specify. Where is it? Specify. You must consider the user input before proceeding, if not empty. The text the user typed after specify is the triggering message. The feature script. Assume you always have it available in the given the generate a concise short name for the branch. Analyze the feature description. Extract the create or update the feature specification from a natural feature description. Okay. Have you tried Gemini 3? I have, and I think it's pretty bad. I tried it past 2 days, and relative to this model, Sonnet 4.5, I think it's pretty bad. But I need to spend, of course, more time before I conclude something close to absolute opinion, which I try to avoid, because Yoda said only fools think in absolutes, right? But it's still too early to say, but past 2 days I tried it and it was pretty bad. Of course, I can elaborate on what I mean when I say bad, because that doesn't tell you much, but at least to cut it short, the output I got from it relative to Sonnet was just worse. Outplayed, hey buddy. No, I have not tried it for other things than programming. I only tried it for programming. Okay, then I guess the specify thing now. Okay, so this is very segregated as far as I can see. So, but I think I'm getting it. So here we specify a high level thing. Then we specify the plan. But this is kind of meaningless for us, right? We're not building an application from scratch. We just want to try this thing now for fixing some bugs, right? So as I look at this now, I'm just a little bit skeptical at this point, because Okay, but let's just do it, right? So let's do a silly one. So no, but this is not a feature, this is a bug, right? This is a bug that I can fix now probably in like 10 minutes manually or 5. But I want to see, like, because again, I mean, I think this example they provided is very arbitrary. I mean, I'm not going to like initialize a new app every single time. I mean, if I, you know, I just want to fix a tiny bug now, right? And I want to test it, right? Okay, but whatever. Let's try. So, what was it? Specify, right? So let's say specify. So editing an article in the front end fails. Fury, hey buddy. Okay, let's see about this. Editing an article. Okay, again, I will give it some relatively vague information. So let's see. Okay, so it's trying to create a new branch, okay? Fine. Oh, because this is not a Git repo, that's why. And also it's... Okay, so we can already see that this is not going to work like this, because it's trying to create a new branch in this project, but that's not the project, right? So we can see that our workspace type of thing kind of farts out already, because it's supposed to open a PR in a front-end project or the API. That's unclear. So we are already hitting a roadblock here, because right now it's already saying, okay, I'm ready to start helping you fix this, but let me create a branch. But man, you don't know yet where the issue is. It might be in the backend or the front end, right? So you would need to do this in reverse. You would first need to figure out where the issue is, and then create a branch at the appropriate end, or both ends. It might be that both UI and backend are failing at something, right? So that's not going to work then. Yeah, I mean, okay, if we just... Wait, if we just stop this for a second. If we just stop this for a moment and we go to a new chat, right? We just stay in a plan mode. And I just do this. I reference the front-end project. And I just do this. And I say, recently I have done a huge refactor moving from my internally built form library to a React form. So I believe the regression is there. Let's see, because the thing is, what is the core benefit? I mean, this is already going to use the agents MD, so it's already going to use our rules. It's already going to be in a plan mode, so it's not going to execute anything. It's still going to create set of tasks, set of atomic tasks, right? Which is also what this thing would do. So I wonder, is it worth creating this specification for every single project, right? That is a bit unclear now, because it seems very, very granular. Like you need to do all of these steps, define this, run that. Whereas this thing, as you can see, is already kind of figuring things out. Okay, let's see. I mean, and then otherwise we'll just fix it manually. It doesn't matter. I'm just testing things out. And let me actually just go locally and investigate this myself. So if we go to dashboard, articles, oh. All right. Oh, I see. I mean, I typically, yeah, I mean, first of all, yeah, I don't have many sensitive ones anyway, and I think second, I just don't open ENV files on stream ever. And I don't do anything to expose them. So honestly, I don't think it ever happened so far that I've done that. And, you know, especially, and even when I was actively streaming and stuff. Okay, so I can see a regression that happened, so let's kind of fix that. That's so weird, man. I mean, this is a bit surreal, but it's fine. I mean, I'm not gonna be too hard on myself because it's fine. So let's go to the API and see. So let me do always the first thing. Let's simply comment out Fastify schema just to see if the schema is wrong, and maybe that's why we're not getting anything. That's always a number one assumption we can make. So if we go again here and articles, okay, so no, so it's not that. So okay. Okay, let's try to remove the left join here. Danny 3 stacks, thank you very much, you and everybody else for your follows. Appreciate it. $204. Ah, okay. So I think actually no. I think this thing is farting out somewhere. So if I go to my error handler, my centralized error handler, I think that the problem is most likely. Wait a minute. So I do believe that we do get to this point, but we're not actually logging anything, so that kind of sucks ass. We need to set up our Pinode to do better job here. Oh, please complete your profile before proceeding. What? Really? Okay. I mean, I thought we kind of did that, no? Okay, wow. That's actually something related to Redis. So also worth investing. Okay, but anyway, not to get distracted too much here. What is this? This is a this is an RSS article. Okay, let's find a normal article, not RSS one. So let's go here and let's try to update. Okay, updated. So Cedric said he had some text. Okay, wow, that's super weird. That super weird behavior with TipTap. Okay. Okay. My edit fails with content required. The payload has content, so I guess it's backend problem. I didn't change the text in the article directly, but only the H6 to H3. Yeah, I'm not actually seeing that issue, so I don't know where exactly is he getting it. Oh, it's a draft one, I see. Okay. Okay. Cool story, bro. Okay. Yeah, it's unclear now. Doesn't seem to be broken. Works on my computer. Let's take a look at our monitoring. Shit. All right, let's content is required. So it's this. I think this is what he got. Articles, update article line 282. Content is required. So this is kind of, oh, I see. So I see. Okay, very good. That's a good stack trace for us to take a look at. So, and I might content is required. So create article, update. So this is kind of where he farted out. Tip tap. Oh, I see. So this is tip tap image upload object. Okay. So essentially what he tried doing is uploading an image here that we might have disabled. I might have disabled that intentionally long ago. So if I do this, I suppose we should be able to get the same error. I hope so. The problem is we didn't get the error and the image did upload. Crap. Moments when you feel sad that your code works. Huh, interesting. Miguel, thank you very much, Miguel, for the upload. So, okay. Also, it's weird that it says publish here. The article is, in fact, published, so... The AI's gender? No, I'm not talking about the AI. I'm talking about Cedric, a friend who reported this. But I get your joke. Huh. What the hell, man? Why is my code not broken? I'm sad now. So this multi-part data works? No, he's not here in the stream now. Yeah, that sucks, man. So uploading of the images work. Actually, if we go to if we actually end up here, let's see, with unique image names, get the image from TipTap state, upload TipTap images. Am I using here the, what is the name of that library that I installed for image compression? It's called where are you, man? Sharp, yeah. It's called Sharp. And we're technically using it here. We have a method that we reused in a bunch of places, this compress image thing. So are we actually using compress image in there at all or not? So upload image from buffer, so no. So let's actually ensure that we also compress these images in the articles. So let's get away from that, get content with images. Upload TipTap images. We're gonna continue with this one here. Let's just because I don't have much time to stream. So let's ensure that we also compress TipTap images as well. We actually do already. Never mind, false alarm, we already do. Then we append them, blah, blah. Okay, very good. And I think actually that should be shown here in the network tab. If we take a look at the images, should be, I hope, fairly small when compressed. Yeah, 16 kilobytes. So yeah, so it's not lossless, but it is. And actually, if we go to our Cloudflare account, if the Cloudflare actually decides to load, it's unclear at this point. It's spinning. You can do it, Cloudflare. You can do it. Okay, it can't do it. Okay. Anyway, this was good. Why this happened whatsoever is unclear right now. No, it didn't affect us at the company. Only our trust site was down. But it did affect programming network. Programming network was down as well. So yeah. Okay, I'll need to talk to Cedric. I can't reproduce that error. And Cloudflare doesn't want to open, so okay, it's fine. Yeah, that is kind of a bummer. Kind of more sad that the code doesn't, that code works. What type of strategy you follow to make program network SEO friendly if you use pure React? I mean, there's really no strategy. You submit a sitemap, you make sure that your site loads super fast. Programming network is really hard to beat there. If you look at our content, it loads instantly, right? So that's it. There's really no right. So again, so a lot of people fail miserably to understand SEO and how it works. A lot of people miserably fail to understand that just because you server-side render something and deliver HTML, that doesn't make you out of the box SEO friendly. You can still server-side render, and you can still wait, a user can still wait 3 seconds for that render to appear in their browser. So that's not going to mean much to you if you server-side render or not, right? Because your site has to be fast enough, accessible enough, and there are many other things, right? So I don't do much. I mean, I have meta tags like everyone else, right? So like you would have typically, and I have a sitemap. So if you go to programmernetwork.com/sitemap, there's a huge sitemap as well that's parsed, right? And yeah, that is more or less that. And of course, we don't have content. I mean, we have maybe 2,500 users, but many users don't write articles and stuff like that. If they did, we would be highly effective, right? But if I go, I don't know, I've never tried this, but if I say Programmer Network Alexander, boom, here it is. It literally finds me as the first result. It finds my profile, right? So of course, now it depends what keywords that you'll write, but you can see courses, Programmer Network, I don't know, what could I search for? React 19. But we can actually go to so if we go here, right? This is our Google Search Console for Programmer Network. So you can see we have the sitemap submitted, how it crawls it and stuff, discoverable web pages. If we take a look at performance here, you can see that this is the average position, click-through rate. So these things now have very little to do with SEO, right? But you can see if we take a look at the keywords, this is kind of what. So basically, to be discoverable on the internet, you need content. Doesn't matter what you use, doesn't matter how you render your site. Without content, you're screwed, right? So if you want organic search, if you want people to find you, you need good quality content. That is the highest level of criteria is your content. Now, do you have or do you not have this or that is relevant. But you can see all of the pages are actually, some random articles are also, so you can see this article is 12th on the page. Then you can see, I mean, all of these things you could say technically are, what is a shell code, blah, blah, blah. This is 48th page, right? So, but either way, I would always say if you're worried about that, focus on the content, not on the technology so much, right? Because that is just. Okay, this sucks. And actually, let's. My pleasure, man. I would say it's not really a clarification, maybe sufficiently, and I get that, but just be, as I always say, as this stream in the description says, just be careful about content creators and be careful about just hearing random things. I would say that is probably the most important part, right? Because a lot of the advice you're gonna get comes from people who just repeat the same crap they heard somewhere else. It has very little to do with reality, if any. I see. Hope you're doing good. I'm using Fastify. It's my favorite tool if I'm writing Node.js, if I'm writing JavaScript on the backend. Fastify is by far my favorite tool. My favorite tool because of certain opinions that it introduces. Of course, every tool comes with opinions, and some opinions are suitable for people that like these things. Some are so. But I would say Fastify is very mature. It's been built by a pretty competent group of people, Matteo Collina and a few others, who are, let's say, also part of the Node.js committee. So they know Node.js probably better than any of us here. So I trust that. Yeah, I trust the technology. Mr. Situation X, hey buddy, good to see you, man. How's life? You should stop that, man. That is the absolute poison. That is the absolute poison, man. That's good, man. I hope you can I hope you can yeah, show the discipline and grit and character and accomplish that, man. I think yeah, it's so unhealthy. It's so bad for you that yeah, you want to do that for yourself for sure. start, I mean, honestly, this whole platform, no matter how many users it has been built on the stream, and it has. I wish that I wish that it's at the point where I worry about that. That's not even remotely close to what I'm thinking, because again, this is a very tough project. Not technically, you know, building another social platform in the sea of platforms like Reddit and you know, like the others, like what it called. It's very painful, right? So I'm not thinking about it now, even remotely, honestly. The thing is, again, if you have a product, this platform I'm building and I've built, that's of course Programmer Network is online already and people are using it. This platform is about just natural self-growth. So I don't spend any money on it. There's not a single service that I pay for. Everything is hosted on my own Kubernetes server and stuff. And I'm building this with the absolute COGS in mind. So cost of goods sold metric, right? How do you build something that's nearly self-sustainable? It doesn't need money to operate, right? So with that said, of course, that means that, but if you have a real product, you need to pay for advertising. So your SEO is completely useless and nobody cares about that, right? So you're not going to rely or bet your business on SEO, right? SEO is a metric that indicates, hey, we are easy to be found organically. And that's great. I mean, if more people can find you organically by searching for you, that's great. But I mean, if you want to make money and stuff, you need to invest into marketing, you need to pay for ads, you need to do audience targeting, you need to target certain groups of people on LinkedIn, on Google Ads, depending who you're selling to, right? So SEO in that context has almost no impact. So is your SEO great or not? In the context of that, it's almost entirely meaningless, because most people will find you via ads, via advertising, via billboards, via you name it, right? So never underestimate this. I just wanted to be clear, right? Because without ads, without budget for ads, it's impossible. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much for your follows. And let's actually try now. My pleasure, dude. I work at Dream Data. I work at a company that's arguably one of the best companies on earth for business-to-business activation and marketing and stuff. So, and I built probably the most amazing tracking tool on earth that exists today. I have built our own Analytics 2.0 at Dream Data. So I know a lot about marketing and tracking and stuff. I speak to customers about tracking all the time. So I can tell you that all companies, our customers that pay our product, some of them are spending millions of dollars every year on marketing, tens of millions of dollars, right? So never underestimate if you think, oh, Apple, Google, this, that, Oracle, this, that. These companies are spending so much money on advertising that you can't even conceptualize. So every single startup out there that you know is like, how are these guys known? They're known because they're paying a lot for advertising. You might not know that might not be apparent everywhere, but the reason why you know about some companies is because you've been sold these companies, not because you magically found them. So just know that without money for marketing, it's tough. Yep. Yeah, we raised 55 million a couple of weeks ago. That's why we've been to Lisbon recently to celebrate it, yeah. We did really well. And we did that with like 12 engineers. My team there's 6 of us in my team, so yeah. Do you believe PHP and all that? PHP, there's nothing wrong with PHP, yeah. I mean, just use whatever you know and build things, I would say. Interesting, okay. I see. I'll just very quickly deploy this to production, just for the sake of it, and then we do something else. Ah, shit. Alright, cool. Let's push that and give it a shot. Is that a fix? I'm unsure. But let's say that this is in review. Yeah, actually this is done. So let me just move that to done. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. No, I think I know what he's talking about. Yeah, okay. So let me search for auto. So our tip tap has autofocus, and yeah, that is slightly problematic, or to say at least, right? So yeah, this default most likely should be false. So, because when you go to an article or whatever, it shouldn't be. Yeah, right now it kind of focuses that, and that's fine. But if the article is long enough, yeah, okay. So let's kind of search for that a bit. Types, comment editor, comment list. Yeah, so I think this is problematic. Yeah, so I think that should technically fix it. Let's go like lorem ipsum. Let's just grab a bunch of this crap here. Yep. Yeah, whatever. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's do that. Let's do this. And let's do that several times. Let's view it. Yeah, so it should no longer... yeah, it should no longer... because it's no longer focusing this section, right? Okay, so let's, in fact... yeah. Let's also push that. So I would say that is fixed now. So that default is changed, and probably there's a few other places that we could, in theory, update. But yeah, we'll see about that. I'm going through your website right now. I don't know. You have office dogs. Most companies in Denmark have canteen and lunch. Yeah. So I would say that's not necessarily strange, but we are in a very fancy building. You know, our neighbors are JP Morgan and some very big companies. So yeah, our canteen is like very elite, you could say. You know, we have amazing food at work, and we're also, you see where our building is. It's that's the best business area in Copenhagen, right? I don't think that's true in Europe too. No. If you're thinking of European Union, maybe in some countries, sure. I don't think that everyone in Europe has lunch at work. That's not true. That is absolutely not true. Okay. This should be fixed now. Moving to done. No, that's definitely not true. Definitely not true. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is, I would say that is typical for most planet, yeah. But here in Denmark, I mean, most companies, at least companies where I've been, they we have lunch. Actually, let me try to find, I think I might have some videos of our canteen and the area where I eat. Give me 1 second. So this is my canteen at work. So as you can see, this is just one of the random images, but you can see the window. So it's really beautiful, really beautiful there. And this is kind of how the food, this is just a piece of food. So this is kind of typically, we have a main meal, and then we have like a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, this is another day, you can see. So typically you have soup, and it's really awesome actually. I don't know if I have more of it. Oh no, this is, I believe, yeah, this is Google's office in Stockholm. Yeah. We went to a party to Stockholm, to Google office. So this is but yeah, that is kind of it. Yeah. Working from home has its benefits. Well, I mean, yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's fix these tiny things. I'm tired. I don't know how long will I stream, but let me try to get some work done this stream while I get to know some of you and vice versa. So sometimes apparently there's an overflow on phone, and actually now it is there. So let's see what it is that it's overflowing it. I suppose it has to be the thoughts. I don't think. Matty Max, hey guys, good to see you. Thank you for coming, guys. Always great to see you, good dudes. Okay, so it is in fact, let's just kind of do a elimination method. So it is these guys that sometimes break the page, right? Okay, so let's kind of investigate that a little bit. Jesus Christ, man. All right, let's Alex, if you were to pick up swimming, what time would work for you best if I were to swim? In the morning it wouldn't work for me because, you know, I take my kid to school, one of the kids. One of them is a baby, so no school yet, but I take my older son to school in the morning and then I bike to work or run. After work could maybe work, but after I pick my kid from school. So after work, I rush to school, I pick him up from there, I take him home, then I eat and all other things. I help my wife. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Weekends are typically free, but yeah, I don't know. It would be hard. It would be hard to put. I mean, I go to gym 3-4 times a week. That's what I do. But swimming would be a bit more complex because my gym is right across the street here where I live. Swimming pool is near the central station in Copenhagen, so it would be like, it would take me 20 minutes to get there and then get in the pool, dress up, right? So yeah. So no, I don't think it would work at all actually right now, besides the weekends. I love swimming. I mean, I went recently with my older kid to the pools here, and we had a lot of fun. He had a lot of fun, and you know, it's very healthy every now and then. You know, if you want to skip a gym and maybe swim instead. But you know, if you're fortunate to live close enough by with limited amount of time, then I would say, yeah, I think swimming can be great. If you don't live close by, then it's very inefficient, like someone said, yeah. How often do you stream? Good question. Great that you're new to coding. I'm very happy for you, man. Keep it up. Programming is a beautiful discipline, and but it's a discipline, so never forget that. So if you want to become a good programmer, it's no different if you want to become a good tennis player. You have to hit that ball in through analogy way, or you need to build things. But how often I stream? I don't know, man. I'm not a typical like content creator. I stream when I feel like it, you know. So I might stream tomorrow, or I might stream in 5 days, right? But I think the safest thing that you can do is, that's why I built this feature. You can go to this meetup and just join it, and then whenever I organize a new meetup, you're gonna get a notification. Is this shameless advertising? Absolutely. Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. My pleasure, man. Thank you for asking. But I will try. I mean, again, I don't have. I'm not a typical streamer. But I try. I like to hang out with people and stuff. But yeah, sometimes I just do something else. Because streaming is also a very tough thing, and with no reward besides talking to you guys, right? So it's sitting here answering questions for 3 hours while actually not seeing much of the benefit at all for myself. So that's why, at least when you guys sign up on the Programmer Network, that's what I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build a community. If you want to incentivize me to stream more, and if you would want to know how, that is how. Sign up, leave a message every now and then, write a thing or two, and that's kind of it, right? At the end of the day, you know, everything in life has to go both ways. We all have to benefit in some way for things to work out. Come on, you can do it. Beautiful. Let's push that as well. So hopefully, or in theory, I guess, this could have been solved. So I believe it was. So let's kind of mark that bad boy. Is there a single thing your wife thinks worthless activity? No, not really. I mean, me and my wife have been together for almost 17 years since I'm 37 now. So actually maybe even more than 17. We met when I was 19, she was 18. So, we are like, as they say, a nail and finger, right? We are best friends and we know each other. I don't think that anybody knows us individually better than we know each other. So, no, I think we function very well in that sense. If I want to stream, she knows. It's not that she knows that it's useless. If I like to do it, if it relaxes me, she's always going to support me, and I will, of course, always support her as well. But, of course, there are certain things that realistically, but not everything in life has to be financially useful. Like some things you do have to be also something you want to do, right? So, no, but I would say from her side, no, not really. I think she doesn't. No. She knows absolutely nothing about technology, and that is why we're so happy for half of our lives almost already. When you find a partner, you ideally want to find a partner that's fundamentally different than you, so that you can complement each other, but the core values have to be the same. So me and my wife are fundamentally different characters and fundamentally have different interests in some areas, but we are on a core values are the same, right? So if my wife was a programmer, we would have dated for 7 days and we wouldn't want to see each other again, right? Because that's never going to work out. You cannot go to work, do programming, come home, talk about programming. You would kill yourself, right? So even though some people think, oh, I found a girlfriend that also likes this as me, right? You don't want that. I don't think you want that. I think you want someone that complements you in a way, and also not just on an interest level, but also on a level of character, right? So if you're a huge extrovert, you probably want a partner that's a little bit more introvert, not introvert necessarily, so you both don't kill each other, right? Or vice versa. If you're an introvert, you want someone to lift you up a bit, blah blah blah, right? So there's these things I would say are how you complement each other, right? All right, so let's fix this regression. Interesting. Okay. So clearly the issue here is the schema. If I comment out the schema for a moment and we, interesting. We refresh this bad boy here. Yeah, so that's gonna work. And it's gonna work because, yeah, well, the schema has been updated. So if we reverse that change back, so if we take a look at the body, what? 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 Anyway, okay, but jokes aside, we don't really need that. Let me just validate this. Yeah, that is correct. Okay, nothing wrong with that code. That is a perfectly beautiful code. And okay, interesting. Oh, I see. Actually, I don't see. Wait. Yeah, but we what? Oh, I see. Oh, wow. Okay, that is pretty bad actually. Yeah. So how come? Yeah, that is. Oh, no, it's a slug. Okay, so the schema is in fact wrong, right? So the params isn't course ID. It is in fact a slug. Okay, so that probably went. So course slug. Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay, that's a bummer. Okay, well, that's what it is. So it's really course slug. Yeah. Then we get it here. We give it here, right? Yes. Sure. Okay. So that should work now, I guess. So enroll, and that works. Okay. That's a tiny regression there. That's a bummer, but that's what it is. Okay, and let's see what else was reported here. Bugs, courses. Let's kind of move it here. Okay, that with this one we've fixed, right? So is there like a strike through or something here? Quote? No. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, so let's kind of, because there's a lot of stuff I want to change with this feature for my own sake, as I have a course there. That's the only course that's posted there now is that one. Comments, okay, commentable must be a positive integer. Okay, so let's kind of fix these tiny things, right? It's a bit annoying. So what it is that we actually, what is the preview response? So we call comments lecture of 0. Yeah, that is a bit weird. Okay. Oh, I see. So essentially the issue here seems to be that as soon as you go to an actual course, we try fetching the comments but the lecture has an index of 0. So essentially it's almost like well, of course, and there's no record of 0. Okay, I see. Okay, so if we find this crap somewhere, suppose. Do you know some strong arguments against Python backends for typical size customers? I mean, the API performance is a myth, right? Such issues don't exist, right? So majority of these shitty arguments you hear online about any language are just invented mostly by people who actually never even faced any performance issues. So that's why I say most of the people who talk about performance never actually dealt once in their lives with performance. When I actively streamed, many people would come to the stream and start talking about performance, but not because they have anything to do with their experiences, because they heard it from their YouTuber, from their Twitch streamer, right? So that's why people are reluctant to, or they're very actually happy to shit on certain technologies that they never used and that they never faced an issue with. So 99.9% of companies on this earth never even remotely reach a point of scale issue. And if you do that today, no matter which language you use, you failed somewhere else. So you can scale nearly every technology, either horizontally or vertically, be it PHP or Node.js or C# or Java, whatever. And typically these performance issues, even if you have them, are going to be elsewhere, not on your API level, right? So your database might need more resources, your data warehouse might need more slots like BigQuery, etc., 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 right? So which API you use for nearly every single company on earth is irrelevant in the context of performance, and way more relevant in the context of hiring, training, ecosystem, etc., 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 right? So TechCrunch is running on WordPress. Facebook still has many services running on their Hacklang, which is a PHP as well, right? So So I would say, this is not to say, look, I'm not primitivizing importance of good architectural technical decisions. This has nothing to do with that. One doesn't exclude the other. You know, are some languages for some problems objectively better than others? Common sense, of course they are. But are they critical in decision making for performance things? Of course not. So for example, if you're building a distributed system, if you're building another PubSub, RabbitMQ, you would probably want to use Go, right? Because Go is highly concurrent and it's made for these types of problems. But also, chances that you're building another queue messaging system are marginally low, and chances that you're building another shitty, crappy CRUD API like I have here on my screen are very high. So in most circumstances, if you're building something like log in the user, create an apple, delete an apple, add an item to a shopping cart, you should be more concerned about technology as in how cheap can I find these developers, how quickly can I find them in my demographics and my region, and so many other things, and not about will I be in theory able to serve 17 trillion requests even though I have 15 requests per second now, or 15 seconds per minute, right? So I would say performance is a myth for most people, for most software engineers. I've been in this industry for 20 years and I have maybe faced API performance issues once or twice in these 2 decades, right? Because again, when you do face performance issues, they're elsewhere and not related to can my string matching API router regex matching, you know, called 10,000 functions a second, right, or not? So that's typically not a problem. So and I'm just sharing this purely out of my experience, not out of some YouTube tutorial or some bullshit. So I would say don't worry too much about that. It's absolutely relevant. There's Fast API is an awesome piece of technology. I'm not a fan of Python as a language, nothing to do with performance. I'm just not a fan of languages that use whitespace as a constraint. That's why I'm also not a fan of YAML either, right? I hate using whitespace as a feature, but that doesn't mean that I think Python is a bad language. I think probably the best, one of the most useful languages for your career to learn today is Python and Go and TypeScript, right? So if you're wondering now, what should you learn to be more competitive on the market? TypeScript number 1, Python number 2. And then Go would be 3, I think. Fun fact, I believe this morning or yesterday, TypeScript actually became the most popular language on earth. So that's why I'm saying you should Rebel, in short answer, because I went on a huge cycle to explain my thoughts. Yes, Fast API is awesome and you can use it for anything, and you shouldn't be worried about performance. So just to put it in perspective, yes. Chikabala, good evening, buddy. Good to have you. Thank you for checking out the stream. And thank you for the follow, man. That's very kind of you. Okay, so this is where we are. So this is the problem, right? There's no lecture of 0. So this is the bug. This should be 1. In your daily work, what do you do? What type of programming? I work as a tech lead. I think you can find my LinkedIn. You can find my LinkedIn if you type LinkedIn here. Yeah, I think it's correct. But I work in tech leadership, and typically what I do, I have a lot of meetings sometimes. And if I don't have meetings, I code with my team. I try to... I love being in the office. I love physical teams. I think when people get together, the energy is amazing and nothing beats that. I highly believe that highly effective teams are teams that want to be together and that like to hang out. So I consider 99% of my colleagues to be my friends that come to my house and we go out together, we hang out. So in that sense, I would say I'm very fortunate that I'm not one of these guys like, fuck these colleagues, they suck. Have you ever built any desktop applications? Yes, I've done that. I used to work at Airtame. So maybe 7 years ago, I used to work here. And yeah, we built a desktop application using Electron.js. And then I also used to write Qt maybe 15 years ago. I was building desktop applications using C++ and Qt in one of my first jobs. Okay. What? Really? That's weird, honestly. Okay. That is a bit weird. Give me a second here. So we are... Okay, give me a second. So we are in lecture 1. We'll leave a comment in lecture 1. Bam. Commentable author, commentable ID, parent ID 0. Created lecture comments, lecture 1. I want to try to build an automatic grading system where the students use Notebook to write their solutions in Jupyter notebooks. I want to ask if you can give you any helpful advice that could build an efficient automated grading system. Do you have any advice? I would say that the most important advice when building anything, I think this is at this point a tip that everybody has to know, is that you build something as quickly as possible and see if people want that, right? So no matter what you build, every single time when any of us build something, we think that that's an amazing idea. If you ever in your life are building something and you're saying, oh man, this doesn't exist, how about nobody thought about this? Probably people did think about it, and probably an idea is very dumb, and that's why it doesn't exist. So I would say I don't have any specific feedback on automated grading system right now because I'm very tired and I would need to put some thought into it. So on top of it's also midnight here. But I would say whatever you're building, make sure you put it in front of your students as quickly as you can and then get feedback from them. Because at the end of the day, nobody can validate the idea more than the people you're building it for. They might say, we don't want automated grading system, that sucks ass. Or they might say, okay, what is the problem that this is solving and for whom? I suppose that is going to solve your problems, not theirs, right? So do you code more or less now as a tech lead compared to the senior? I mean, you always code less as a technical leader, right? So that's just the nature of the leadership role, right? That's why you either go into leadership or into staff engineer, right? If you want to code more and just continue building things, you go into staff engineer. I didn't go there. I went into technical leadership because I like that. You can see me streaming. I like helping people. I like explaining things. I like sharing experience. I like enabling others. So yeah, it's cool to solve your problems. Absolutely it is. I mean, that is the whole point, right? When I asked for whom are you building it, it's more about if he's building it for himself, then he should speak to other teachers and see if it would solve their grading problem as well, right? And of course, so again, there are many questions to be asked, right, about it. So my response is as good quality as the context that the question has provided, right? So I cannot give a better response given the input I was given, right? So I think I would say that the question is pretty general, pretty wide, pretty vague, and due to that, I mean, I can't provide. Have you considered making groups on programming network? No, not yet. Mainly I have considered it. I have considered that. I have considered company pages as well. So the hardest thing right now with this platform, and like with any other platform that you build, is a chicken and egg problem. Typical startup type of problem, right? My idea is to try to get you guys to feel a sense of community, to use the platform, and then bring in the companies, and then provide value to programmers, meaning we bring in the companies, they can offer you jobs, they can see you there, blah, blah, blah. But it's always a chicken and egg problem. Right now, I mean, technically, Programming Network provides very little value to anyone. I think it would be a very valid question, why the hell should I even sign up, right? Because, again, you need content, but that is the hard part with early adopters, right? I'm hoping that every now and then some of you come and post something, blah blah. So this is how you evolve these platforms. These platforms are very tough to build in that sense. If you don't have a community behind them, then you're kind of screwed, right? So I would say that is just the nature of it, right? Did I create? Actually, I did start that Buru Kane. But then we got a baby. I got another son. He's almost 4 months old, and my wife was obviously pregnant and stuff. So that kind of is paused. It's still something that I will finish, but it is something that's now temporary paused. Yeah. What would you say makes an idea stand out? And a good I think that ideas have zero value, right? Everybody has ideas, and Yeah, I think that ideas have no value at all. Zero. Idea is imaginary potential in one's head, but executing an idea requires a very specific type of person with determination, continuity, consistency, character, stoicism, self-awareness, self-critique, organizational skills and stuff. So the hardest part of building products has nothing to do with building product itself. It has everything to do with your capability, your ability to focus, to ignore all the noise, to say no to everything else, and sit home and build things, right? Or anywhere else. So I would say that ideas have zero value because everybody has ideas, but very few people have a capability to evolve that idea into a tangible thing, right? And then when you evolve it into an idea, you have to sell it, you have to talk to people, you have to... So building a product has never really been necessarily for technical people a hard part of it. The hard part is actually finalizing it, getting it in front of people, iterating over it, and so many other things, right? My son, 6 years old, has ideas. Maybe some of them are even good, but he cannot focus for more than 5 seconds onto anything, right? So they have zero value. The subject of the course is infrastructure. It's called the Infrastructure for Startups. I mean, honestly, dude, I agree with you. Let's actually do that. I'll write this, and next time I stream, we're gonna build groups. I was thinking a lot about it as well, and I like to take feedback from you guys, because clearly that's why I'm streaming at the first place. If I didn't want to get feedback, I would not be wasting my time here. So thank you for that in Acer, and I'm gonna create this, and I'm gonna put it on top of this list. And then next time I stream, we're gonna spec this out and we're gonna build it. It's not rocket science. I already have a data model in my head of what groups are. And actually, when I came up with this idea of groups myself as well in Acer, I wanted to invite my colleagues from work to Programmer Network. But then I realized, like, hey, is there a way for us as a team to use Programmer Network in some sort of isolation type of ways? Hey, we have our own space where, you know, like, because right now if you go to Programmer Network, you have to, if you write a thought, everybody can see it, right? But what if I want to just talk to my friends, right? So you're absolutely right, that abstraction, you could say, could yeah, exactly, right. And thank you for those of you who joined, who signed up this stream. I'm gonna write all of your feedback, and then of course we execute. It's a great reminder, thank you, and it's a great idea, I would say. So why not, man? Absolutely. And with AI, we can build this in a single stream. Again, it's just an abstraction over data layers, so it's not that it's, you know, something mind-blowing, right, to build. Okay, let me just deploy these micro changes. This actually a single micro change. And then we also need to properly refactor this courses feature as well. And yeah, but there's so many things to do and so little time I have for this project. What have I done here? Oh, I mean, yeah, let's push this to the front end part as well, but yeah, this isn't really a fix. This is silencing an error, but it's not really a fix. But simple things, I'm not worried about that in any way. I can fix all this quickly. It's just priorities. Okay, I'm just gonna do a sanity check here. So we should probably go through. So these Redis default states are wrong, even though they're just temporary states, so they have no value. They're gonna get replaced when some action happens, right? But you can say that, yeah, it's fine. It's just there's really no in Postgres. if you're not using UIDs, if you're using just regular integers, they always start from 1 and not from 0. So you could say, hey, I mean, you know what, actually, let me cure my sanity here. Again, has no significance on anything. It's just to be more right, basically, yeah. And I don't want to do a global search and replace, mainly because we could mess it up somewhere else. So oops. Ah, these are the tests. Crap. Okay. We'll need to rerun these tests then. Rebel, thank you very much, man, for interactions. I very much appreciate it. I hope you got some info that was useful. And I'm gonna round up soon as well, in maybe 5 minutes. So that's also a great reminder as well. Good night, guys. Thank you, both of you. Thank you very much for the back and forth. It's really fun, and what makes me streaming at the first place. Just having people to interact with and stuff like that. So that is great. And this was actually a wrong project there. Okay, actually, let's not do that yet. What is this? Okay. Okay. That should be deployed technically. Yep. Yeah, so we're gonna do a lot of work to make this better, this feature, just more standard, I would say. It just needs more love, and like everything else, that's just how it is. But at least we have deployed that. Add possibility for images, okay. So I can't seem to navigate into my lectures, it doesn't show anything, okay. Courses, edit. Oh, actually, no, this is production. Wow, okay. Okay, so actually that does work, so that's fine. Okay, I'll talk to this guy tomorrow. Alright, fellas, because it's midnight, let's see if any of you has any remarks, any questions, anything you want to discuss. Otherwise, I'm gonna head off as well and probably run to bed myself. It's midnight here. And of course, as always, yeah, thank you for those, especially for, well, to everyone, also the new people who took the time to send a message or two and say hi. I appreciate that. And also those of you, if you're still here, who went and signed up, thank you very much for that as well. I appreciate that. And as I said at one point in this stream, I don't have a schedule, but what I typically do is I post an event there, maybe a day or two before I stream. So if you want to be here and hang out, please just go and join that meetup, and then you're gonna get a notification when I stream. Until then, I wish you a good night. Be well, and I'll see you guys some other time. Peace out, everybody. Bye bye. Good night.